What if the one thing you skipped in your divorce deal could cost you tens of thousands of dollars every single year? Imagine signing on the dotted line thinking you've covered all the bases, only to realize months or even years later that a tiny oversight has quietly drained your bank account. Today we're diving into the single most overlooked line item women regret not negotiating. And trust me, it's not what you're expecting. It's the detail that can make or break your financial future. The clause so easy to forget in the whirlwind of paperwork and emotions. Stay with me, because later on I'll show you exactly how a small change at the negotiation table could have kept hundreds, even thousands, of pounds in your pocket, and how you can still fight back if you've already signed away your leverage. Most divorcing women don't even know their partner's pension exists, and that blind spot can quietly siphon off tens of thousands of pounds over the rest of your life. Picture this: you're poring over bank accounts and property deeds, mentally checking everything off your list, but you never pause to ask about that retirement plan gathering dust in your ex's name. It feels almost too small to matter in the heat of negotiations, until you realize that every single month, a chunk of what should have been yours is heading straight into someone else's pocket. Here's the hard truth. Only about 3 in 10 couples actively include pensions and workplace retirement accounts in their divorce settlement. That means 7 out of 10 walk away without touching the single largest asset they jointly built over decades. For the average woman, that oversight translates into a shortfall of roughly £77,000 by the time pension payouts begin. Enough to fund a comfortable year of living on your own, or to top up your savings for emergencies and unexpected health costs. Negotiating that slice of the retirement pie isn't just about splitting money today. It's about safeguarding your independence tomorrow. Whether it's a defined benefit pension from a long-term employer or a nest egg of defined contribution funds, every pound you claim now multiplies with interest, investment growth, and compounding returns. Sidestep that conversation at your peril, because once the decree is signed, you can't reopen the case to retrieve what you missed. And that's just the beginning. Your monthly safety net could evaporate without a single tweak to your alimony agreement. What felt like a generous alimony check when you signed your divorce papers can turn into pocket change a decade later if you skip the cost of living adjustment clause. Picture this. At 50, you settled on £1,200 a month. Enough to cover rent, utilities, even a little treat now and then. Fast forward 10 years, inflation has quietly eroded your spending power by nearly 25%, but your payment never budged. Suddenly, that £1,200 barely covers basic groceries, let alone the surprise vet bill or emergency dental work. Without a COLA clause, you're effectively locked into yesterday's rates, watching your safety net shrink as prices climb. Negotiating a simple index-link provision, tying your support to inflation, can protect you from this invisible tax on your future income. It's the difference between maintaining the lifestyle you agreed upon and scrambling to close the gap with savings or risky borrowing. And once the decree is final, courts rarely revisit that detail. So if you never asked your lawyer to add it, you've handed away your most reliable hedge against rising costs. But it's not just about the numbers on paper. Your peace of mind depends on knowing your support will keep pace with the real world. And what happens when your health insurance coverage slips through the cracks next? Losing your spouse on paper often means losing your health coverage in real life, sometimes as soon as the next billing cycle. Imagine waking up one morning, logging into your insurer's portal, and finding your plan has vanished without warning. In the whirlwind of property division and custody battles, it's all too easy to assume health insurance will simply carry over. But unless you explicitly negotiate continuation of benefits, whether through COBRA subsidies, private plan allowances, or a direct spousal obligation, you could be left scrambling for a new policy with higher premiums, steeper deductibles, and narrower provider networks. Most divorce agreements gloss over these details because health benefits feel secondary to homes and bank accounts. Yet replacing a solid employer-sponsored plan can cost you hundreds of extra pounds each month, on top of the stress of managing pre-existing conditions or securing coverage for your children. Even life insurance policies, disability riders, and critical illness coverage can slip through the cracks when nobody asks the right questions. You might think group rates will extend to you for a grace period. But if your ex-spouse's HR department requires proof of divorce before reinstating coverage, you'll face delays, gaps in care, and potentially thousands in unexpected medical bills. Negotiating a clear clause that binds your former partner to maintain your health and related insurance, plus naming you as beneficiary on key policies, can feel like a small ask in the heat of settlement talks. But it's the safety net that keeps you protected when life inevitably throws curveballs. Failing to secure this line of defense doesn't just hit your wallet. It puts your well-being and that of your children at risk. And when tax season comes, That saved dollar can turn into a hefty bill. Did you know that dividing assets in a divorce can trigger surprise tax bills that wipe out the very settlement you fought for? It's not just about who gets the house or the stocks. It's about what you actually walk away with once the taxman takes his cut. Imagine thinking you scored a winning deal on that rental property, only to discover that capital gains liability will cost you tens of thousands when you eventually sell. Or believing that rolling over retirement funds into your own account is a paper move, until penalties and hidden fees leave you with a fraction of what you expected. Consider the case of Emma, who agreed to take her ex's shares in a small real estate venture thinking she was securing her future income. What she didn't calculate was the stamp duty and CGT she'd owe if she later sold her half interest. By the time she factored in a hefty 20% capital gains rate plus local surcharges, her gift was nearly cut in half. Then there's the danger of ignoring tax implications on retirement rollovers. Without a proper QDRO in place, lump sum distributions can trigger early withdrawal penalties and ordinary income rates, turning a supposed financial cushion into an unexpected debt. Negotiating the after-tax value of each asset should be as routine as splitting the asset itself. That means working with a tax advisor to model every scenario, from selling the family home to transferring investment portfolios, and then baking those numbers into the settlement. It also means watching out for hidden traps like inheritance tax clawbacks on IRAs or dividend withholding on foreign holdings. Failing to map out these details is like signing a blank check to the Treasury. And even a seemingly small business stake could be worth more than your house. If you waved through his side hustle, you left real money on the table. He might have brushed off that small consulting gig or the rental flat as not worth splitting, but it's often the hidden ventures and quietly accumulating investments that hold the biggest value. Without a proper forensic valuation, you're trusting your spouse's word. An open invitation for undervaluation or outright omission. Imagine discovering years later that the tiny marketing agency you never asked about was actually generating six-figure profits, or that the family friend's tech startup stake you ignored had matured into a lucrative exit. Those missed equity shares and unexamined business interests can eclipse the worth of the family home and leave you thinking you got a fair deal when you've been handed scraps. Getting ahead of this means insisting on transparent, expert valuation before you sign anything. Whether it's a side consultancy, partnership in a friend's venture, or a dormant LLC, every share needs its day in court, and its number on the settlement sheet. That includes digging into balance sheets, revenue forecasts, and even future earnings potential. Once the decree is final, courts rarely reopen business value disputes, so any stakes you left out become yours to lose forever. And don't let joint debt sneak up on you next. That car loan you co-signed or that maxed-out credit card balance might seem like small details in the whirlwind of asset division, but they can come back to haunt you for years. When you agree to take on joint debts without really considering your own credit mix, you're effectively signing away your future borrowing power. Imagine the shock of applying for a mortgage or a personal loan only to have your score cratered by past delinquencies you didn't even know you inherited. Even if payments are on time, your debt-to-income ratio spikes, rates go up, and suddenly that helpful concession feels more like a financial noose. Protecting yourself means demanding full transparency on every liability. Mortgages, car loans, credit cards, even utility arrears, and negotiating who shoulders what. If you end up carrying more than your fair share, insist on adjusting property splits or alimony to offset the fallout. And if your ex refuses, make sure the court order explicitly states who is responsible for each account and includes enforcement measures for missed payments. Because once the papers are signed, those debts don't vanish, and neither does the damage to your credit score. One more thing many women overlook, and it's about more than money. Missing a well-defined holiday schedule can haunt you long after the ink dries on your divorce papers. Imagine gearing up for Thanksgiving only to realize that custody calendars lump you in with everyone else. First half of the holidays one year, nothing guaranteed the next. You thought weekends were settled, but no one asked about spring break, summer vacations, or those unexpected school closures. Suddenly you're scrambling for last-minute flights, juggling daycare drop-offs, and pleading with teachers to accommodate an ever-shifting routine. Without clear agreements on school breaks, birthday weekends, and even weekly pickup times, every family milestone becomes a logistical nightmare, and the emotional toll on both you and your kids can be devastating. Negotiating specific dates and backup plans for holidays, school events, and childcare responsibilities isn't just paperwork, it's peace of mind. Locking in shared calendars, defining who handles extracurricular pickups, and agreeing on the costs of camps or tutors means you won't be left footing surprise bills or facing custody disputes over summer camp registrations. All these oversights add up, but you can still fix them before it's too late. Now that you've seen the 7 critical areas you can't afford to skip: your pension rights, a built-in cost of living boost, guaranteed health insurance continuation, a clear picture of tax liabilities, a forensic valuation of every business interest, fair debt allocation, and a rock-solid family calendar. Take a moment to imagine your life if even one of these had gone unnoticed. That missing pension slice could have been the difference between a comfortable retirement and a constant scramble. A flat-lined alimony check might leave you scrambling for cash as costs rise. An overlooked health plan clause can force you into subpar coverage just when you need it most. Every gap chips away at your long-term security. But here's the good news. You still have time to act. If your decree isn't final, bring these items back to the table. If you're already on the other side, consult a specialist. Sometimes post-decree modifications or even side agreements can reclaim lost ground. It's not just about the money. It's about protecting your independence, your peace of mind, and your future lifestyle. So tell me, which one of these 7 would have made the biggest difference in your divorce? Drop the number below and share your story. Your experience could save someone else from that same regret. And if you found this breakdown eye-opening, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Let's make sure every woman knows exactly what to fight for at the bargaining table. Because you deserve nothing less than a settlement that truly secures your tomorrow. Now that you've walked through the 7 critical areas so many women overlook, from the pension you never knew existed to the parenting calendar that never got a second thought, take a moment to reflect on which one would have changed everything for you. Every clause, every missed detail, isn't just line items on paper. They're the building blocks of your future security, your independence, and your peace of mind. If you've already signed and wish you'd asked more questions, it's not too late to explore post-decree options or side agreements that can reclaim what was left on the table. If you're still negotiating, use this list as your roadmap to make sure nothing slips through the cracks. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below sharing one insight you'll take into your own settlement talks and how you plan to use it in your life. Your story could be the wake-up call another woman needs. If this video gave you clarity, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss future guides to protecting your financial and emotional well-being. Your support helps us keep creating practical, empowering content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.